Radium Springs. Just the name is intriguing enough. Why would it be named after the radioactive element radium? That's what we intend to find out. These are the walls of a large casino and resort that used to be right here. It was built in the mid-1920s and opened to the public in 1927. It closed in 1939 due to the effects of the Great Depression. It reopened a few years later and was very popular for several years. In 1994, it suffered major flood and storm damage. Then, in 1998, there was yet another devastating storm that caused damage so severe it could not be saved. In 2003, the casino and resort were torn down. Then, in 2010, the state reopened it under the name Radium Springs Gardens, just as you see it now. A nice public area for picnicking, nature walking, and relaxing in a calm pastoral setting. It is free to the public. Way back about 1540 AD, when Ponce de Leon arrived here at Radium Springs, he found the Creek Indians living here in the area. They no doubt used the springs as a source of water and fish. The water fresh from the main spring must have been choice drinking water for that time. It flows 70,000 gallons per minute. It's about 90 feet deep here at the main spring. The springs are part of the huge Florida aquifer, a vast network of limestone, much like a huge rigid sponge that's below the whole state of Florida and extends into parts of South Georgia and Alabama. This aquifer has water pressure, and that determines the flow from various springs. At times, the main spring here flow was so low that the run downstream mostly dried up. Feel free to pause the video if you'd like to study this underground map of the cave system that's under the springs. It's been mapped down to an area by divers until they got to a point where they could not pass through the narrow passageways. Okay, right down here at the mouth of the spring, which is right here, right below me, I'm getting a reading of 294 on the radio code. 294, which is pretty much background for scintillator type detector. It was mostly deserted here on our brief stop here at Radium Springs Garden on a quiet Friday afternoon. This was probably one of the original signs that was here back during the heyday of the resort. Now it's gone to this type sign. The water here is not as shallow as it appears to be. It is so clear, and it magnifies the bottom so that it's actually much deeper than it seems to be. If you were to get in it, you would see what I mean. It looks like it may be knee deep, but actually it may come up to your waist. Note the contrast of the aluminum rails on the left with the over 100-year-old beautiful rock and concrete work. Get a water sample. I'm attempting to get a water sample that we can take back with us and test at a later date for radioactivity. Okay, and here I have a bottle of Radium Springs water. We'll check it for radioactivity after a while. A little bit later. Right now I'm being eaten up by the gnats. Maybe you can see the gnats all around me. This was known as Blue Springs up until 1925, when a water analysis showed that it contained radium and radium salts. Then the name was changed to Radium Springs. During this time, it was believed that radium was the answer to almost every ailment. People came from all around to soak in the healing waters. We know now, of course, it's not a good idea to ingest an alpha emitter such as radium. But radiation of some level is everywhere. You can't escape it. It's been here since the Earth was formed. Many places around the country contain radium in their drinking water. The EPA says the concentration should not be over 5 picocuries per liter of water. The flow from the spring follows the run to the Flint River. Eventually, the Flint runs into the Chattahoochee River at Lake Seminole. Then the Apalachicola River runs from there to the Gulf of Mexico and nourishes the great oyster beds at Apalachicola, Florida. These are cypress knees that grow up from the roots of the trees that grow all along the water's edge. Botany textbooks used to say they supplied air to the roots when the trees would be flooded. Now, apparently, botanists are not sure of their function. In years past, cypress knee lamps were popular for their rustic look. They can still be found on eBay. The way it used to be, probably back in the 40s or 50s, an old postcard view. Amazing workmanship back from 100 years ago. Amazing architecture and attention to detail. Be sure to be on the lookout for my follow-up video where we test the radium-infused water to see what kind of results we get. And if you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for watching.